Dun, 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 dun. We are back, and today's class is on manipulation. So today we're going to talk about manipulating anchor points and Bezier curves. Now, when we think manipulation, of course, we think changing. And essentially, the two things you can do is you can change one from the other and vice versa. So you can change an anchor point to a Bezier curve, or you can change a Bezier curve to an anchor point. And how do you do that, you say? Take a look at these, and I'm going to clear up the artboard for us. Let's get rid of some of these. I'm going to keep the one in the middle because it holds the most relevance. And we're going to actually enlarge this. We're going to increase the weight so you can see it. And it just looks like a big V or a check mark that's on the screen. Now, when you go to your pen tool, it's in your toolbar, fifth icon down, or you can hit the P shortcut button to actually get to it. You'll notice that if you click and you hold down, you have three options that are under here. You have add anchor point, delete anchor point, or convert anchor point. Now, this, let's select it. And it's kind of difficult to see, so we're going to change the color to, let's say, probably a black, just so that makes it easier to see. Okay. The blue line is the center of our stroke, which was created by the pen tool. Now, sometimes you may want to get rid of a point that's in between two additional anchor points. So let's say we want to get rid of this point right here in the middle at the bottom of our V. So what we're going to do is we're going to either click the minus symbol on our keyboard, or we go and we click the pen tool and hold down and we go down to delete anchor point. And once we click on that point with that tool selected, it will delete our anchor point. And now we have the first initial point, and we have our second point. Now if we were to go back, you can also, opposite of taking something away, you can add something. And that's where our add anchor point tool comes into play, which is our plus symbol on the keyboard. So we click the add anchor tool button. Same thing, you go over to the pen tool, click and hold down, click the plus sign, and we can click anywhere on this line, and we can add additional anchor points, which creates more line segments. So once you've clicked and added these anchor points, you can go to your direct selection tool. It's also represented by the letter A on the keyboard. And you can click a point and pull it, and it will essentially change the direction of the line between whichever anchor points are on its opposite sides. So as you can see, we've added anchor points, and now we are manipulating them by pushing and pulling them. And these are all in straight lines. And again, if we wanted to delete them, simply click our minus symbol on the keyboard, or go to our pen tool, go down to delete anchor point, and we can individually select which ones we want to delete. Now, you know how to add and you know how to delete anchor points, but we've been talking about this relative to straight angles and not curves. Now there's one other tool that's listed here, and it's called the convert anchor point tool. So if you go and you click on your pen and you scroll all the way down, the last option is the convert anchor point tool, and you click that, and you can also select it by Shift and C on your keyboard. If we want to change an anchor point that's angled and we want to change it to a curve, we would click that point and then drag any direction that point with our tool. The convert anchor point tool will then make a curve, and it will have the same length on either side of that curve. As you can see, we took that point in the middle and we changed it to a curve. Now, these bars on the end take a look at them a little closer. These are called handles. And just like if you were riding a bike, you can move these handles left, right, up and down. It changes the direction of where they're actually going. In addition to this, if you look, you can actually manipulate the individual handles so that it's not required that both sides actually change at the same time. You would just have to keep your Convert Anchor Point tool selected, select the anchor point that you want as far as a manipulation, and then select the handle on the side of that anchor point, and then you can manipulate and move that one independent of the other handle. If you wanted to, let's say, select and manipulate the other handle, you can hit Shift-C after you've selected the anchor point again, then select that handle and you can manipulate that specific handle inside of the curve independent of the other side. And you can keep doing this indefinitely, but always remember that that is how you have to select the handle. If by some chance you've manipulated one and you want to manipulate the other independent of the first one that you've changed, you have to select the anchor point first with your direct selection tool. And then you can, even with the direct selection tool, manipulate that point. But if you decide that you're going to click it and try and manipulate it again to select it, unfortunately, it will convert it back to an angled point, which may not be a bad thing, and then brings us to our other point. If you have a curve and you want to simply convert it to an angle in between points, use your Convert Anchor Point tool and you click that point, and as you can see, it's changed to a V shape again, and once you let go, you now have an angled point and not a curve. And that is how you convert anchor points and manipulate handles in Adobe Illustrator. It's very simple. And now we're going to move on to how to manipulate line weights in Adobe Illustrator.